Osama bin Laden. The hunt had already outgrown borders. For years, the world's most powerful intelligence agencies were chasing a man who refused to appear. Satellites scanned mountains. Drones circled villages. Special forces moved through valleys along the Afghan-Pakistani frontier. He had slipped away once before, disappearing in the cave networks of Tora Bora while bombs fell overhead. The expectation was simple. Find him fast, end it quickly. Instead, the trail went cold. Audio messages surfaced. Grainy videos appeared. He was alive, but nowhere visible. Intelligence units tracked couriers instead of phone calls. They mapped family networks. They followed whispers across cities. A single trusted messenger became the thread. Years passed. The search shifted from mountains to a walled compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. High walls, no phone lines. Trash burned inside the yard instead of collected. The house stood less than a mile from a major military academy. Suspicion built slowly. The decision came in May 2011. Two helicopters crossed the border at low altitude under darkness. The flight lasted roughly 90 minutes. Inside the compound, gunfire echoed in tight corridors. The operation took about 40 minutes from landing to departure. When it was over, the most wanted man in the world lay dead on the third floor. His body was flown out before sunrise and buried at sea. Pablo Escobar. The city was turning against him. Car bombs were detonating in broad daylight. Judges were assassinated. Commercial airliners were blown out of the sky. In Medellin, the explosions could be heard blocks away, windows rattling as smoke lifted above the hills. Escobar had declared war on the Colombian state to stop extradition to the United States. At first, he controlled the tempo. Police were bribed. Politicians were threatened. Entire neighborhoods depended on his money. He built housing projects and soccer fields, buying loyalty street by street. For a time, he even negotiated his own surrender and entered a self-built prison called La Catedral. It had a bar, a football pitch, armed guards loyal to him. Then, the pressure shifted. When authorities moved to transfer him, he walked out. The hunt restarted. This time, it was different. The search block, a special police unit, tightened surveillance. U.S. intelligence supplied signal tracking. Rival traffickers, known as Los Pepes, began targeting his network, burning properties and killing associates. Escobar stopped moving freely. He relied on brief radio calls to his family, sometimes lasting only minutes. Each transmission risked detection. In December 1993, one of those calls was traced. Police units closed in on a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin. Gunfire cracked across rooftops. Escobar ran, climbing onto red clay tiles, trying to reach the far side. He never made it. The most wanted man in Colombia died on a roof in his own city. Blackbeard. His name alone was enough to make ships turn away. He literally built his reputation carefully. Slow-burning fuses were tucked beneath his hat, so smoke curled around his face during battle. Pistols hung across his chest. He understood fear traveled faster than gunpowder. For a time, that fear worked. He blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina, holding ships hostage for days and demanding a chest of medical supplies as ransom. Trade stalled. Insurance rates climbed. Colonial officials felt the pressure. The crown responded. A bounty was placed on his head. Royal Navy officers were authorized to hunt him down along the American coastline. Lieutenant Robert Maynard set sail with two small sloops, moving into the shallow inlets off North Carolina, where larger warships could not follow. At dawn in November 1718, they found him anchored at Ocracoke Inlet. The first exchange of cannon fire shattered wood and rigging. Smoke drifted low over the water. Maynard's men hid below deck to make their vessel look crippled. Blackbeard boarded, expecting surrender. Gunfire erupted at close range. Witnesses later reported that he was shot multiple times and cut with swords before he fell. The fight lasted minutes. His body was thrown overboard. His severed head was hung from Maynard's bowsprit as proof. The pirate who ruled the coastline was carried back as cargo. Saddam Hussein. Power had collapsed, but he had not been found. Baghdad had fallen. Statues were pulled down. Ministries were looted. The army dissolved. Yet the former president was gone. Audio recordings surfaced, insisting resistance would continue. His face appeared on wanted posters. A $25 million reward was announced. The assumption was that he had a plan. Coalition forces searched palaces first, then safe houses, then farm compounds along the Tigris River. Raids were carried out at night. Doors were blown open. Rooms were cleared one by one. Intelligence teams questioned relatives and former aides. Tips led to empty buildings. Weeks turned into months. Near a small hut, a patch of disturbed earth was noticed. The hole beneath it measured roughly 6 to 8 feet deep. Inside, there was space for one person, a fan, a pistol, a few personal items. When the cover was lifted, he was pulled out, disoriented, with a long beard and dirt on his face. The search lasted 9 months. It ended without gunfire. John Dillinger. When he robbed banks, many people didn't see him as the enemy. You see, during the Great Depression, crowds sometimes gathered outside crime scenes just to see the damage. Dillinger moved quickly. Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, robbing banks across state lines while local police struggled to coordinate. He carried Thompson's submachine guns. He posed for photographs. Newspapers printed his name daily. At first, he slipped through every gap. He escaped from jail in Crown Point using a wooden gun carved from a piece of washboard and darkened with shoe polish, according to authorities at the time. Guards handed over real weapons. He drove away in a stolen car. Each escape embarrassed law enforcement further. Pressure built inside Washington. The Bureau of Investigation, soon to be renamed the FBI, was given expanded authority to pursue criminals across state lines. Agents tracked associates. Informants were cultivated. Safe houses were monitored. Dillinger changed appearance, even undergoing plastic surgery to alter his face and fingerprints. Still, he kept moving. In July 1934, he attended a movie at the Biograph Theater in Chicago. Federal agents waited outside in the humid summer air. When he stepped onto the sidewalk, a signal was given. Gunfire echoed down Lincoln Avenue. He was hit and collapsed near the curb. The confrontation lasted seconds. He was 31 years old. The manhunt had helped transform a federal bureau into a national force. Public enemy number one died under a theater marquee. Adolf Eichmann. The war had ended, but one of its organizers had vanished. Well, he had overseen the logistics of deportations during the Holocaust, coordinating trains that moved millions toward ghettos and camps. When Nazi Germany collapsed, he disappeared into the chaos of post-war Europe. For years, he lived under an assumed name, eventually settling in Argentina. Life grew quiet. He worked at a factory in Buenos Aires. He rode the bus home. He used the name Ricardo Clement. The world's attention had shifted to rebuilding cities and redrawing borders. His name faded from headlines. Survivors did not forget. Information reached Israeli authorities in the late 1950s. Mossad agents began surveillance. They watched his routine, measured his commute, counted the steps from the bus stop to his house on Garibaldi Street. The operation required precision. Argentina had not agreed to extradition. In May 1960, agents intercepted him as he stepped off the bus in the evening dark. He was forced into a car within seconds, held in a safe house for days. Sedated and disguised as an airline employee, he was flown out of the country on an El Al flight. The disappearance sparked international protest. The trial in Jerusalem was broadcast globally. Survivors testified in detail. Documents were presented. His role was examined line by line. He was convicted and executed in 1962. He had hidden for 15 years, but the file on him never closed. El Chapo. The prison was supposed to hold him. Concrete walls, armed guards, surveillance cameras. He had already escaped once in 2001, reportedly hidden in a laundry cart. When he was recaptured in 2014, officials promised tighter security. He was placed inside Altiplano, a maximum security prison west of Mexico City. The routine seemed controlled. Cameras monitored his cell 24 hours a day. Guards rotated shifts. The floor beneath his shower stall was reinforced concrete, no phone access, limited movement. The state believed it had sealed every gap. Then he disappeared again. On July 11, 2015, cameras showed him entering the shower area. Minutes passed, he did not return. When guards checked, a hole measuring roughly 50 by 50 centimeters had been cut into the floor. Beneath it ran a tunnel more than 1.5 kilometers long, equipped with ventilation pipes, lighting, and a modified motorcycle on rails. He had been gone for hours. The manhunt expanded across mountains and highways in western Mexico. Marines raided safe houses. Intelligence units tracked communications. In January 2016, a firefight erupted in Los Mochis. Bullets struck walls. He fled through a drainage tunnel, carjacked a vehicle, and was captured hours later. This time, there was no Mexican prison. He was extradited to the United States in 2017, convicted in federal court, sentenced to life in a supermax facility in Colorado. He had built tunnels to escape. Now, there is nowhere to dig. Carlos the Jackal. He moved between borders faster than the warrants chasing him. And yes, governments knew his name long before they knew where he was. This was the guy linked to bombings and assassinations across Europe during the 1970s. Safe houses shifted, passports changed. He traveled through cities that rarely coordinated intelligence. At first, he operated with confidence. In 1975, gunmen stormed an OPEC meeting in Vienna and took more than 60 hostages, including oil ministers. Carlos was among the leaders of the group. The standoff lasted hours. Negotiations followed. He and his team were flown out of Austria on a chartered plane, moving between countries while authorities scrambled. The spectacle made him notorious. European security services increased surveillance. Files thickened. Interpol circulated notices, yet he continued to find protection in sympathetic states during the Cold War, relocating from country to country. Years years passed. By the early 1990s, he was living in Sudan. French intelligence tracked him quietly. In 1994, after Sudanese authorities agreed to cooperate, he was detained in Khartoum. Sedated during a medical procedure, he was placed on a plane bound for France. The transfer happened in hours. He was tried and convicted for multiple murders and sentenced to life imprisonment. Later convictions followed for additional attacks. The man who crossed borders with ease now lives behind one.